Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. And today's card we will be talking about is Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines. It reads, for 5 mana, 4 colors, and a white. It's a 4/7 Phyrexian Praetor. Of course, it's a legendary creature. It has Vigilance. And it reads, if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of a permanent your opponents control to trigger. So it's exactly like a panharmonicon, but it's in a white commander. So what we're going to be doing here is having the blink or flicker package. And with packages, if you follow the 8x8 theory, it is literally 8 cards, and you can give or take from the 8 to create a package. But right now we're going to give you 8 cards that go with the blink or flicker theme, so you can flicker and double up whatever the effect or ETB trigger that you want to happen. First card we have is Fiend Hunter. For 1 color, 2 white, it's a 1/3 human cleric. It reads, when Fiend Hunter enters the battlefield, you may exile another target creature. When Fiend Hunter leaves the battlefield, return the exile card to the battlefield under its owner's control. That's 2 creatures that get to flicker and go away, or actually enter exile because you have Fiend Hunter. Next up we have is the Eldrazi Displacer. For 2 colorless, 1 white, it's a 3/3 Eldrazi. It has the Void. This card has no color. Okay? And you tap literally 3 mana. 2 colorless and a colorless. Exile another creature, then return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. With him and Elesh Norn, you get 2 creatures that get to flicker. I will tell you from experience, Eldrazi Displacer is a problem. It is so hard to get off the field without it actually using an ability and the opponent getting an extra trigger, just because the Eldrazi Displacer uses ability at instant speed and it doesn't even tap itself. I will tell you, watch out for the player playing Eldrazi Displacer and make sure they play it in the right mana color, because just because it's a colorless creature, it still costs 1 white, and they need to have a commander with white in it. Just facts. The next 2 cards, alright, is Aerial Extortionist. For 3 colors, 2 white. It is a bird soldier that has power and toughness 4/3. It is a flyer. It reads, whenever Aerial Extortionist enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may cast it. Then it has, whenever another player casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. Right here, you're going to have the Bird Soldier Extortionist, Aerial Extortionist, shoot, exile up to 2 target non-land permanents. And it could be your cards. It doesn't have to be your opponent's. And you can cast it at any time. It's almost like Release to the Wind, except for it's on a creature, and you get to do this with any permanent. This gives you such of a instant / escape opportunity for any of your creatures. Or actually, any non-land permanent. So that includes enchantments, planeswalkers, artifacts, creatures, auras. There you go. You're just going to get the flexibility with Aerial Extortionist. Next card we have is Abdel Adrian, Gorion's Ward. For 4 colors and a white, it is a legendary human warrior. It is a 4/4. He reads, when he enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until Abdel Adrian leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each permanent exile this way. So obviously you can exile any number, but you get to do the effect twice. So therefore, you could do it twice and create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens for each permanent exile this way. You hear me here? Just because you flickered it. Yeah, that can get out of control. And choose a background. That's his last ability. Don't worry about that in this deck if you plan on flickering, because, hey, Elesh Norn is a mono white, unless you use it as a commander in your 99 or as a card. Back to more flicker cards. The famous Cloud Shift for 1 colorless. It's an instant. Exile target creature controlled and return that card to the battlefield under your control. Next up we have Teferi's Protection. It's an expensive card. It is an expensive card. It's got to be in the 30+ range. But it's Teferi's Protection. It is that powerful. Until your next turn, your life total can't change and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. So beginning of your next upkeep, all those cards come back into play. Exile Teferi's Protection. Moving on to 2 more flicker cards. We have Ghost Away. It's an instant. Remove each creature you control from the game. Return those creatures to play under their owner's control at end of turn. What I love about Ghost Away, it says return those cards, or actually creatures, to the owner's control at end of turn. So all those effects after cards get destroyed, your creatures or whatever creatures are coming back at the end of turn. So that's after post-combat main phase. Hear me out. After post-combat. Next card is Semester's End. If you don't know this card because somebody's not playing with Hanada, this is a very powerful card. It's similar to Ghost Away, but I will read the card. For 3 colorless, 1 white. It's an instant. Exile any number of target creatures and planewalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter on it if it is a planeswalker. Well, if Super Friends deck, this card is awesome. You get an additional loyalty counter, and you get to protect your planeswalker because you flickered it away. This time you get to do it. Hey, you get 2 +1/+1 counters or 2 loyalty counters added to your planeswalker. Moving on to the double draw package, being able to add your flicker package with your card draw package, you're doubling up on cards, especially if you're running mono white. So the first card we have here is Inspiring Overseer. For 2 colors and a white, it is a 2/1 Angel Cleric. Flying. When Inspiring Overseer enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Next card is Priest of Ancient Lore. Same CMC, same power and toughness. It is a Dwarf Cleric this time, and it does the same thing. You gain 1 life and draw a card when it enters the battlefield. Next card we have is Mentor of the Meek. For 2 colors and a white, it's a 2/2 Human Soldier. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 colorless. If you do, draw a card. Flicker something into play. Whap, whap. That's right. You're going to have to pay 2 mana, but you get... We have Low Shield Clockwork Scholar. For 2 colors and a white, it's a 2/4 Elephant Artificer. He reads, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to attacking artifact creatures you control. You should be using a lot more artifact creatures now that the Brothers War has been released. There are really good artifact creatures that are medium to beefy in size that can just provide value and not take away from your deck. Anyway, back to Lochelle's second ability. Whenever 1 or more artifact creatures enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Hey, this ability triggers once, but the blink effect with Elesh Norn will allow you to draw 2 cards. Stick around for the bonus card. You will like it. Alright, moving on to Piersteer Paladin. For 2 white, it's a 2/2 Human Knight. Whenever equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. It has Metalcraft. Equipment you control have 0 equip costs as you control 3 or more artifacts. Bam, right here, play an equipment, drop it onto the field. You get 2 card draw, straightforward. And if you're going with mono white, you're going to need some kind of equipment to actually be relevant in the combat phase. Okay, next up we have Proud Stoic Strategist. For 3 colors and a white, it is a 3/3 legendary artifact creature. Remember, artifact creatures when they attack with Loic. He is a robot. He has more than meets the eye ability. But this is a side that you will definitely need to know. Whenever Prowl attacks, exile up to 1 other target tap creature or vehicle. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. So, yeah, you are flickering your own creature, generally, or another creature that your opponent has that's already tapped. Okay, because remember, when you attack, you have to tap to attack. Anyways, whenever a player plays a card exile with Prowl, you draw a card and convert Prowl. So when you play that card, or whenever that player plays that card, you get to draw 2 cards, then convert Prowl. So you can get rid of a problem creature with Prowl, and your opponent recast it, you get to draw 2 cards. Moving on to Sanctuary Warden for 4 colors and 2 white. It is an Angel Soldier 5/5 flyer. It says, when it enters the battlefield, put 2 shield counters on it. Remember, if it takes damage, you can remove a shield counter and prevent that damage. Okay, whenever Sanctuary Warden enters the battlefield or attacks, you may remove a counter from a creature or planeswalker you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Now, remember, it says you may remove a counter from a creature or a planeswalker you control instead of Sanctuary Warden, who comes with 2 shield counters on it. Whenever you remove one of those counters from a creature or planeswalker, you get to draw a card and create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. With Elesh Norn, it's going to be double. So 2 cards and 2 citizen creatures. Next up is Tocasia's Welcome. It's an enchantment for 2 colors and a white. Whenever one or more creatures with mana value 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Hey, straightforward, you get the double up. You get 2 cards instead of 1. Alright, now for our bonus card. Remember those artifact creatures? Meet Combat Thrasher from the Brothers War. It's an artifact creature construct for 3/3 for 7 mana. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, you're not paying 7 mana for this card. You're going to pay 3, which for its prototype cost weight is a 1/1. It has double strike, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Next up, when you flicker it, it's going to come back as a 3/3, and you get to draw that card. And it triggers twice. So you're literally going to be drawing 4 cards maximum with this card if you use 1 flicker effect. Thank you for watching Command & Claw. If you like more content like this and want more information about cards from All Will Be One Phyrexia, feel free to hit the subscribe button and watch more content here.